Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Wednesday at noon, is uploaded to our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page to watch on demand. Today's January 30th, 2019, and now the News at Noon.
According to the Cortez Journal, in Arizona, the Colorado River Drought Contingency Plan now hinges on the approval of tribal nations. The plan is meant to levy water cuts to 7 western states, preventing the river and its reservoirs from reaching critical levels. But after a state lawmaker introduced legislation that undermines parts of the Gila River Indian Community's water settlement, the tribe has threatened to exit the plan. Without tribal buy-in, Arizona's implementation design will collapse, threatening the basin-wide agreement. If the latter isn't signed by January 31st, federal officials will scrap it and draw their own. The Drought Contingency Plan's fragile consensus between thirsty stakeholders highlights how tribal water rights, some of the most powerful in the West, can make or break deals in the arid region, where drought is a reality rather than an aberration. Along with the Colorado River Indian tribes, the Gila River Indian Community is contributing mammoth quantities of water for the plan, especially to sate vocal farmers in the Safford Valley with low-priority water rights. Gila River reached a deal with the state in December that in total gives up or sells approximately 640,000 acre-feet of water and brings them $90 million from the state and federal governments, according to their attorney, Don Pongres. With that water to conserve and distribute, Arizona will be able to handle the Drought Contingency Plan's cuts.
Reported in the Durango Herald, a 50-year-old woman from Oklahoma was with members of La Plata County Search and Rescue on the Purgatory Flats Trail at 8:20 p.m. Monday after she became lost while snowshoeing at the Durango Nordic Center. She was uninjured but tired. Rescuers expected her to be extracted from the area by 11 p.m. by a team of 5 members, said Ron Korkish, Search and Rescue Mission Coordinator. Korkish said the woman, whose name he could not release, was snowshoeing alone when she wandered off the Nordic Center Trail, became disoriented, and ended up on the Purgatory Flats Trail. Quote, she was not prepared to stay the night and knew enough to call 911, Korkish said. A Flight for Life helicopter was called, but the woman chose to come out of the area under her own power, Korkish said. Quote, it's cold and dark, and they may take a rest coming out. We're certainly not going to have anyone injured tonight, so we'll take as long as necessary to be safe, he said of the extraction plan. Korkish said the woman started out on her hike around 1 p.m., and the call for assistance came in about 5:40 p.m.
Reported by the Cortez Journal with a photo from the AP file. In light of a new survey conducted by the nonprofit Rise Above Colorado, state leaders have expressed concerns about growing trends in teen substance abuse use, particularly in teens' misconceptions about vaping. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, while smoking is on the decline, young Coloradans are vaping nicotine at twice the U.S. average. The study was commissioned by Rise Above Colorado, a state nonprofit that addresses teen drug misuse and addiction with support from a grant under the Colorado Department of Human Services Office of Behavioral Health. It built off previous studies conducted since 2009 and most recently in 2016. To conduct the study, Healthcare Research gathered responses from a total of 604 young people, with 291 interviews conducted over the phone and 313 online. With this sample size, the maximum margin of error is plus or minus 4 percentage points, according to the researchers. To get an accurate state representation, they established quotas by region, looking to reach an appropriate number of teens based on respective areas' population. The study highlighted teenage misconceptions about vaping. Of the surveyed youth, 78% said they used nicotine-free flavoring. However, nearly all vape products sold at convenience stores, including Juul products, contain nicotine, according to Rise Above, meaning that the respondents might have misinformation.
A flu update reported by Patch.com by Jean Lotus. At least 22 children have died from flu-related causes as the disease is now widespread across the country, according to the latest statistics released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. One pediatric flu death occurred in Colorado last week. The flu has spread throughout 36 states, and the H1N1 virus, the swine flu, continues to be the predominant strain in most of the country, while the H3N2 virus has predominated in the southeast. The latest figures released by the CDC last Friday are current for the third week of January that ended January 19th. The CDC said in a statement earlier this month that while it's not possible to say definitively how severe the 2018-19 season will be, severity indicators are lower than they were during a similar time frame during the last flu season. FDA Director Scott Gottlieb said that the H1N1 strain tends to peak late in the season, but that the vaccine has a 60% effectiveness or more against it. Aside from the 36 states, including Colorado, reporting widespread flu activity, the remaining states reported regional, local, or sporadic flu activity. The CDC's influenza-like illness, the ILI surveillance measures the level of flu activity within a state. According to the latest ILI data, New York City and 18 states, including Colorado, have the highest flu activity. However, the ILI surveillance does not measure geographic spread, so the CDC cautions that outbreaks in a single city could cause a state to have high flu activity. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment reported that as of January 19, 2019, there were 1,394 people hospitalized during the 2018-19 flu season. The agency reported 18 outbreaks in long-term care facilities and 1 death in a child under the age of 18. The flu can cause serious illness, hospitalization, and death. The groups most at risk are older adults, very young children, pregnant women, and those with certain chronic medical conditions, according to the CDC. Many suggest that you clean surfaces that you come in contact with and wash your hands frequently as easy steps to help avoid the flu.
From the Cortez Journal, the Dolores water and sewer systems are older but in good standing, according to a recent analysis by engineering firm SGM. Areas that need improvement were identified, and savings are needed to replace aging systems and to comply with new regulations, said Louis Meyer, a civil engineer with SGM. Dolores has strong river water rights, good supply for growth, and system redundancies. The town has a 1.3 cubic feet per second water right on the Dolores River that has a very senior status under Colorado appropriation laws. The town's rights also include 2 wells. Municipal water is pumped to a 300,000-gallon tank above town during winter months. Well number 1 is sufficient to supply town's domestic and commercial water demands. In the summer, the water treatment plant draws water rights from Dolores River to meet the additional demand. A second, shallower well is used for park irrigation. Average daily water demand between 2013 and 2017 was 139,000 gallons per day. In 2013, average daily use was 145,271 gallons, and in 2017, average daily use was 139,737 gallons. The domestic well and water treatment plant have a capacity of 1.1 million gallons to 1.6 million gallons per day, compared with a daily maximum demand of 300,000 to 400,000 gallons. The water distribution system is 60 years old, and older iron pipes have been replaced over the years with more flexible plastic pipes. And now, let's take a look at the weather.
Here's the national weather map. As you've probably heard over and over, the Arctic blast of cold air and sub-zero temperatures is freezing the Midwest and New England. Bitterly cold temperatures continue to spread across the northern plains towards the Great Lakes region, with temps as low as -63 across northwest Minnesota. Values this low could result in frostbite in as little as 5 minutes on exposed skin. Along with the cold air, snow will continue to be spotty within the low pressure front across the upper plains, Midwest, and New England. Still some lingering rain over southern Florida, and you can see the thunderstorms ahead of the low pressure off the west coast covering much of northern California. Regionally, we are fairly dormant with no clouds to speak of. Temperatures have really plummeted in several valleys across the region. Craig is reporting -16, and at this time Gunnison was -14 this morning. While cold, it's certainly not uncommon for those areas to drop to the temperatures of the negatives. Regionally, most sunny with near normal high temperatures, except for the snow-covered valleys that will stay quite cool. Tomorrow, expect more of the same, though a weak and small area of low pressure will come ashore over southern California and keep dropping slowly to the southwest. As this occurs, moisture and precipitation will lower and just bring some showers to Arizona and New Mexico. Our extreme southern zones though may see some increased clouds from the system, but not much else. Temperatures will remain near normal, if not a few degrees warmer. So that brings us to the 5-day DCTV local outlook, showing today sunny with a high near 37, with a light breeze. Tonight mostly clear with a low to 15. Thursday sunny with a high near 40 degrees. Thursday night partly cloudy with a low around 23. Warming up a bit Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 43. And Friday night partly cloudy with a low around 27. And we're still looking at a 30% chance for Saturday snow showers starting late morning, and then a chance of rain showers afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high near 44 degrees. Saturday night continues with a chance for rain showers before 10 p.m., then a chance of rain and snow showers between 10 and 2 a.m. And then if it continues, we may see a chance of more snow showers after 2 a.m. Mostly cloudy with a low around 30 degrees, so that will be right on the border of freezing depending on where you are. Sunday morning, that lingering chance of showers continues but will taper off by noon. Mostly cloudy with a high near 39. And Sunday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 26. Heading into next week, the National Weather Service is showing Monday partly sunny with a high near 38. Monday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 23, but we'll know more about the system coming into Southern California tomorrow to see if it is expected to make its way to the Four Corners with any precipitation next week. And now, back to the news.
From the Cortez Journal, on Monday, the Dolores Public Lands Office and Canyons of the Ancients National Monument Visitor Center and Museum have reopened. Since December 22nd, when the partial federal shutdown began, about 50 staff from the Bureau of Land Management, the National Monument and National Forest stationed at the two facilities outside Dolores have been on furlough. The partial shutdown was triggered by a budget dispute between Congress and President Donald Trump on funding a wall at the U.S.-Mexico border. A deal was struck Friday to fund and reopen the government until February 15th to allow time for a budget resolution. BLM Tres Rios field manager Connie Clemenson said the monument and BLM office were busy and staff is glad to be back to work. Funding also has been approved for furloughed employees to receive back pay, and payroll processing is a priority, she said. The BLM is expected to name an interim manager for Canyons of the Ancients National Monument soon, Clemenson said. Derek Padilla, Dolores District Ranger for the San Juan National Forest, said staff at the Dolores Public Lands Office are catching up on their duties. Much of the day has been spent returning a backlog of calls from the public, and people are returning to the information desk.
Reported in the Journal, photo Mark Lenahan, AP File. Colorado Senate President Leroy Garcia, Democrat from Pueblo, wants to expand a network of centers dedicated to treating opioid addictions in southern Colorado as the state's overdose deaths have risen to an all-time high. But the expansion could stop short of southwest Colorado, where Montezuma County now has one of the highest overdose death rates in the state. Garcia hopes to put millions of dollars into several outpatient treatment centers that offer medication and therapy in the San Luis Valley, an 8,000 square mile region that spans 6 central counties: Alamosa, Conejo, Costilla, Mineral, Rio Grande, and Saguache. Some of the funds will also go to centers in 2 additional counties yet to be determined. Southwest Colorado now has 5 facilities that offer people suffering from opioid addiction medication, assisted treatment, a highly sought-after option that offers medication to prevent overdose and withdrawal. But as medication-assisted treatment becomes more popular, addiction rates continue to rise and options for treatment remain limited. Montezuma County will desperately need another facility, said Sheriff Steve Nowlin. In 2016, Montezuma County's overdose death rate between 38 and 52 people for every 100,000 was among the highest in the state. In the county jail, nearly half of the 90 inmates are struggling with drug addiction in a facility that has 1 registered nurse on staff. Cortez has 2 clinics that offer medication-assisted treatment, the Cortez Recovery Center and the Access Health System Center, which sees only existing patients. 2 years ago, Montezuma County deputies started carrying Narcan, a drug that can reverse overdoses, but the county relies on donated supplies, which must be destroyed when they expire every year. Allen said, "It's just a revolving, never-ending cycle, and I'd like to break it somewhere," he said. The new bill asked for $5 million from marijuana tax dollars to add treatment centers in the San Luis Valley and 2 additional counties to be determined based on needs. However, again, Montezuma County is not on the list. Medication-assisted treatment can be a game changer for people who are struggling to shake opioid addiction. The program can offer medications that treat cravings for opioids and withdrawal symptoms, which can be fatal. Once withdrawal symptoms are managed, patients can focus on counseling and recovery, said Stephanie Allred, Senior Clinical Director at Access Health System. Research into the underlying causes behind the opioid epidemic is another step that needs to be addressed.
According to the Cortez Journal, construction marches on at the Mancos at the Mancos School site as the district upgrades, renovates, and expands across the campus. The entire remodel is expected to finish up by spring 2020, and when completed will include expansions of the gym, performing arts center, and elementary schools, in addition to a new artificial turf football field. Of the project's overall $25 million cost, $19.7 million comes from the Building Excellent Schools Today grant, while about $5 million is being supplied by a voter-approved bond measure. Construction progress has been made available on the Mancos School District RE6 website, updated on a weekly basis. Work on the historic Mancos School Gym has been divided into the north and south side compartments, with progress on the north side renovations furthest along. When completed, the gym's expansion will hold a lobby, ticketing area, restrooms, and weight room, according to officials from Janus Construction Corporation, the firm charged with completing the project. This week, Janus is beginning drywall finishes and the installation of translucent panels on the north addition, according to the school district. On the south side, workers are continuing the electrical rough-in, roofing operations, concrete block veneer, and plumbing top-out. Construction on the gym additions is projected to conclude in May, after which point work will begin on expansions to the campus Performing Arts Center.
From Thomson Reuters Foundation, Tina Bellin, Photos, Reuters, and Natural News. A federal judge overseeing lawsuits alleging Bayer AG's glyphosate-based Roundup weed killer causes cancer on Monday tentatively allowed pieces of controversial evidence that the company had hoped to exclude from upcoming trials. U.S. District Judge Vince Chabria, during a hearing in San Francisco federal court, called his decision, quote, probably most disappointing for Monsanto, the Bayer unit that manufactures the world's most widely used herbicide. The company denies allegations that glyphosate causes cancer and says decades of independent studies have shown the chemical to be safe for human use. Chabria on Monday said plaintiffs could introduce some evidence of Monsanto's alleged attempts to ghostwrite studies and influence the findings of scientists and regulators during the first phase of upcoming trials. He said documents which showed the company taking a position on the science or a study introduced during the first phase were, quote, super relevant. The company had hoped the judge would take a harder line on such evidence following a January 3rd order by Chabria restricting evidence of corporate misconduct. At the time, that decision lifted Bayer's shares nearly 7%. Monsanto had argued much of this evidence was a, quote, sideshow that would only distract jurors from the scientific evidence. Plaintiffs' lawyers contended some evidence of corporate misconduct was inextricably linked to their scientific claims. The judge appeared to agree with them, saying it was difficult to draw the line between scientific evidence and allegations of corporate misconduct, and questioned whether it would be fair for the jury to not hear about the company's alleged attempts to influence scientists. The parties did agree that other internal documents, including emails of Monsanto employees discussing lobbying efforts, do not belong in the initial trial phase. Under Chabria's order, that evidence would be allowed only if glyphosate was found to have caused plaintiff Edwin Hardeman's cancer, and the trial proceeded to a second phase to determine Bayer's liability. The order applies to Hardeman's case, which is scheduled to go to trial on February 25th, and two other upcoming cases. There are some 620 Roundup cases before Chabria out of more than 9,300 nationwide. Plaintiffs' lawyers believe corporate misconduct evidence was critical to a California state court jury's August decision to award $289 million in a similar case. The verdict sent Bayer shares tumbling at the time, though the award was later reduced to just $78 million and is under appeal.
From the Cortez Journal, as Mancos ranchers Patricia and Jack Burke grew older, they faced a dilemma. They wanted to see their Burke beef business continue, but had no one to maintain their lands and cattle. In 2012, it became apparent that we were not able to physically continue to do what we had done for the past decade, Patricia Burke said at a recent presentation the couple gave to the Mancos Public Library. They had a daughter, but she and her family were not interested in going and managing the lands themselves. And so, after downsizing their cattle herd and doing some thinking, they landed upon a solution that would not only help them, but also would allow an aspiring farmer to get an agricultural beginning. They brought Dustin Stein into their lives, giving him the experience and land necessary to kick off his farming career and ensure the survival of Stubborn Farm and Burke Beef. The Burkes are not alone in their predicament. Farmers nationwide are aging, and generational farming, the traditional practice of passing land down to one's children, may not happen either because farmers are childless or because young people choose not to follow in their parents' footsteps. And the startup costs facing young people interested in pursuing agriculture from a non-farming background are often insurmountable. He hopes to encourage others to follow his model to forge young old partnerships and so preserve the future of the small family-owned farm.
In today's High Canyon Country happenings, Friday, February 1st, there's a fundraising bake sale starting at 9 a.m. and a special drawing for a 1 in 100 chance to win a Ruger American 6.5 Creedmoor at $30 per chance. The bake sale is this Friday starting at 9 a.m. at the Superette, and that drawing will be held again at the Superette Deli February 8th at 10 a.m. Shane Gore this is a fundraiser for Shane Gore, who was born and raised in Dove Creek. He is 32 years old, single, and raising 3 sweet boys, ages 16, 14, and 7, the flyer says. On January 6th, he was in a terrible car wreck due to bad roads while heading to Cortez. Shane has suffered trauma to most of his right side of the body, and which will take months to rehabilitate and get back on his feet. He's currently in a wheelchair. Shane and the boys are at his grand's, Joan Gore, here in Dove Creek, and she will be taking care of them and their needs, doctor trips and such. Buying a baked good or a chance ticket will help ease the stress that Joan has now taken on. Shane does have a good attitude and is looking into the future, returning to everyday life. For tickets or information, you can call Carol Marie at 739-3562 or Jeff at 676-1204. February 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Canyon Country Discovery Center invites you to a free day. Do you have the winter blues? Bring the family and come have fun. The center is located at 1117 North Main Street in Monticello, Utah. And up in Telluride, O'Bannon's Irish Pub invites you to join them for 2 nights of the Future Birds, a group all the way from Athens, Georgia. Saturday, February 2nd and or Sunday, February 3rd. The doors open at 10 p.m. It's $10 each night, and the performance runs to 1:30 in the morning. And all the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with YouTube replays, weather, original stories, local posts. And sharing your event will be great if you can contact us with the information. Email dcbnnews@gmail.com or call us at the station 970-677-4119.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is available online on our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page on demand.
Be sure to like us there on Facebook and join in on the news of our area. And of course, please share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.